Yep.
Other than that, not really see much attention going towards it for any side. I think especially for teams like Chaos, you don't want to show too much, for example, in the Nordic Championship, when you want to be saving that ideally for Pro League. And the rest of them probably still trying to learn and adapt. And at least with all the roster changes coming through, the last thing on your mind is completely learning a new map that no team has really got a set cadence for just yet. Thatcher and Capital are going to be the first two bans coming through, so already a little bit of variation compared to last map in the form of the Thatcher, but the Capital, exactly the same as before.
Yeah, it makes sense to ban the Capital as well. It's so incredibly strong with all the utility. We also get another change in terms of bans here with the Kaid being banned. I don't think we saw him played once in the previous matchup, if I remember correctly. So
yeah, but I think that's because you knew that you were going to likely have Thatcher on the field, so there's just no point. Whereas in this case, because Thatcher is banned, Kaid suddenly becomes infinitely more powerful and needs to be taken away. So it makes total sense.
Very good point. And Mira being taken off, which means Maestro should be open. And we've seen some players on fact play Maestro consistently, so they wouldn't want to ban that away from themselves. Will be an incredibly strong operator to play into against Granit, but also means that Granit, of course, will have him available. These teams are capable of doing some analysis or VOD reviews of each other, since all the games and matches are streamed. They will be able to watch each other play. And hopefully they will be able to pick up some expectations of one another. Kaid, as you said, makes sense of the ban when Thatcher has been banned off as well. And we can see Nicken on a smoke here, Prophet onto Jaeger. It's actually going to be Jinxed out on Bandit, and Bandit usually being more of a more supportive role, but maybe not so much on Cafe. There's not going to be a lot of Bandit tricking up here at the top floor, so it might just be a gun preference here and allowing Prophet to run the Jaeger for the first round of the map.
Starting things off on Bar and Cocktail, and that Bandit being brought along probably means that we're going to see a lot of electrification going on inside of the freezer area, or so I would come to expect. May yet be that they just choose to try and burn through some utility here, because even though that the Thatcher is banned away, you know that suddenly now it is infinitely more annoying to be able to get through anything that has any kind of mute jammer on it or has bandit charges on it. And here, very commonly, you'll have teams using one of the exothermic charges on that double wall at the top of red stairs to be able to force their way through. That's not so easy when it's electrified off, so they'll have to try and get someone in below, get someone on a slightly risky window angle to get rid of it, for example. It's all just focusing around slowing down the attackers and wasting time, so that if it does come down to a crunch, you're the one who's in benefit. Also added by the fact that you have an echo on side means that if we are coming to those final few seconds and a plant is being attempted, guess what? There's someone else to try and stop you. Also paired up with someone like the Legion and the Smoke as well. So everything about this lineup coming out of fact is just screaming, slow them down, waste some time, and force them to make mistakes.
Tons of annoying operators to play against there, in fact, for sure. Legion still very capable. He has been nerfed to the ground, but that doesn't mean that he is impossible to play. It just means you have to be in close range to your goo mines if you... Oh, yeah.
He tried to get a C4 up through the red hatch there. Didn't find anyone on the roof, though.
Yeah, that's just like him, I guess. But... yeah, the goo mines. I mean, you can still get information off of them. You just have to stay a lot closer. So it means that Hippo would... now he's already rotating back to site. But it means if he were to know exactly which goo mines people have stepped on, he can no longer rely on the global icon of his goo mine. Still, very annoying to play against. And even if they don't do initial damage either, you still have to consider the goo mine when you're actually pushing in. Look at this. Jinx is just going to go in and get the free kill into Oscar there. That's a bit too easy, especially with someone holding in from Piano, but JTC does get the trade eventually, but a bit sloppy there from Granit and a bit too late, I would say.
A bit weird to be dropping the hatch and then getting on drone when you're in a very vulnerable position like that. Normally you want to drone upstairs first and then go for a push, but they're going to get the trade back, so it's not the end of the world. And equally, Prophet is popping off with 2 kills himself in this round, now into a 4 versus 1 with Buck all by himself, playing out on these east windows. And I think we all know how the game will tend to go, or sorry, the round will tend to go from here. Once you're in a 1 versus 4 against some fraggers like you have on this side, they've still got the Echo alive as well. The only death they've had was a trade so far, or a response to a kill elsewhere. So I'm pretty sure Fact will feel very happy with how this round has played out, knowing that Nomad was removed so comfortably so early.
Yeah. Not looking good. This is like a ranked game where you just not even finished repelling or droning for your team and the rest of your team is dead. Like, where are you guys? And you just have to drop in, walk into all of these doorways with all the ACOGs pinned against you as well. Well, I say all, it's just one, but still facing Prophet as well, sitting over here by default spot or new hatch. He's going to try and contest him, and Prophet will get his first multi-kill again for Fact. I'm convinced, though that's not much to say about that round, except for Fact cleaning up for sure.
It's another case, I think, of drones being the potential weakness there. The Nomad had dropped down and got an air jab, even on the doorway to begin with. So if anyone did try and push in, they get themselves air jabbed immediately. That would have been the play. I think not enough time spent outside the building. Admittedly, it took a minute for that first kill to come in, but not really providing enough cover. No one watching the Nomad while she was alone downstairs and droning. A lot of the same stuff that we saw in the last game. So I really want to see these things start getting tightened up now as we go into round number 2. Reading and Fireplay is going to be the next place of choice. Round number 1, as you can see, went Fat's way very, very comfortably, 4 kills to 1.
Yeah, some of these teams could learn from 6pick. 6pick has actually been tremendously good at they have not been able to prove themselves as anything other than a lower tier team at the moment. But one thing that they actually do a lot better than many of these teams is actually droning and clearing. And it's strange to say that because usually it's the other way around. Usually you have like lower tier teams being poor at these things that we've seen people do in terms of mistakes now, like droning, holding angles. That's actually one of the strengths for 6pick. Their weakness is the actual final execution, that they don't win enough gunfights or that they make some poor micro decisions. And the only reason I'm mentioning 6pick here is just to highlight the difference between what Desertube was just talking about with the droning and someone not holding that cigar shop from within Piano. If Piano is clear, we knew that Hippo wasn't playing in there anymore. Someone needs to make sure that Red Stairs isn't being pushed. Jinxed Owl could just, again, another time, just crouch walk up to someone and boop them on the head and get the first kill. And after that, it was clean up city for Fact Gaming.
I've got to appreciate that even though that was entirely the prep phase, I'm pretty sure 90% of it was spent with all 5 members of the defenders on the top floor doing some setup work. And Jinx Owl's done it once again. If you look at the top of Red Stairs, that's where they've got down double electrification once more just to try and lock them in. You saw how hard it made it to attack last time round. Thank you very much, Alex. How hard it was for the Nomad to get in there, drop down, get on drone and be like, well, we've got to get rid of this. And before you know it, that bandit that's electrified you out, he's also killing you. So good luck in dealing with that one. So I'd imagine this time around, you'll see them slow down a lot more, and Granit will get on those drones early on, try and source up where those defenders are on the top floor, and try and deal with them before much else comes in. This is such a risky angle for Prophet to be playing here, because he's got to contest both half stairs, and the hatch at the same time.
Yeah, but if no one's playing down there, you're usually safe. But I agree that initially it's a very risky position until you know where the attackers potentially are. I think he's even sitting there with an ADS, but it looked like the lights were off. Regardless, you had a very good point with a bandit here, but I do...
4 upstairs.
Oh, look at this. Yeah, this is why a lot of people prefer reading, because you can hold it pretty much almost like bar. So if you're comfortable with defending bar, there's a grenade coming through, but Jinx is just going to take some chip damage off of that. There's no one contesting him from the window, so he's free to just rotate into Piano here for free. Again, not too convinced with the crossplay here from Granit Gaming, and they're still struggling with getting...
they've not droned it. The drone went north. They know that Prophet's here behind the shield, but they haven't looked back inside a Piano right now. Jinx Style could get a massive flank on here if he plays this right. I'm pretty sure they have no idea he's there. JTC stepping in from Cigar, gets himself brought down by Hippo, so that doesn't matter too much. And he's just going to hold quietly for a little longer.
That's a cheeky angle as well from Hippo there from within backstore. Prophet is now in contestation. He will win that gunfight against Stead, though, so it doesn't even matter for him. Jinxtel's just chilling here, looking after his batteries and being able to provide backup if so needs be. And with Densu being taken down as well, the hard breacher, that's Jinxtel, like we just said, just jumping into Piano. They don't know he's there. Prophet with another multi-kill here, too, and it's a 1v5 situation for Badger on the Ash. He has to ace clutch. Finds one. Will he be able to find 2 at least pad his stats? No, he won't. In fact, Gaming are certainly solidifying their second place spot in the league so far with a very impressive couple of rounds so far.
They are, and honestly, the droning from Granit, what's going on? Like, admittedly, sometimes things do slip through the net, right? And let's not harp on the fact that they were trying to be time efficient. They were trying to push the right way. My biggest #1 question is, where are the flank drones? Like, surely you have a drone that you keep alive, you get it inside of somewhere like Piano before you start looking to push in towards Cigar Shop. That was a total blind area of the map for them that they assumed was empty and was going to stay empty, and Jinxstyle, as we saw, rotated his way immediately out after that grenade first came through. So check it again, check it thrice if you really have to. Otherwise, you'll keep on finding yourself getting caught out this way, and that's 2 rounds there that have been an utter landslide towards the defenders.
Yeah, and then it's nice to remember the old rule of if you haven't droned it, or all the information that you gave, once 5 seconds has passed, that is old information. It's no longer relevant. It's no longer viable. If Piano was clear 10 seconds ago, it doesn't mean it is still clear. And another thing that was really concerning for me in that round was how Jinx Al could play for free with inside Piano. No contests, nothing from the windows, and the batteries were up the entire round. You have both Zofia, you have Buck. You should, even with ADSs, you should be able to get rid of those bandit charges and try to get yourself into a drop down onto Red Hatch and open that wall just to be able to give yourself an extra rotation there into Piano or away from Piano. But that just didn't happen from Granit Gaming so far. And I am a bit concerned because it looks like fact they're just jumping straight at the throats. As soon as they notice that they hesitate, Jinxed and Prophet are there to punish them so hard.
And I like that both times they've done this now, where they've had a really aggressive because of the fact that Thatcher is banned away. And this is probably a really good strategy for teams who like to ban things like this quite aggressively. Let's not forget that Thatcher was their ban, that they feel like on defense, we know we can play so aggressively when that is banned away, because most teams, unless you're attacking in towards Kitchen, will start on the top floor. They will start on Red Hatch, they will start on New Hatch, drop those and push forwards. A few teams have been castling off the doorway between Cigar and Piano. In that case, they've bothered not to. They've just left Jinxed out in there with no jammers, no ADS, no nothing. Just sit there and back away when the time comes. And then they've had a Jaeger holding much more aggressively from Bar, facing in towards the New Hatch. So it's almost like they're not even letting Granit get inside the building because they know they haven't got the utility to do so. This time around, it's a little bit different because it's on the bottom floor, and that's why you're seeing a bit of a change-up. Jinxed is the one not on Bandit this time as well. That's Nickin's job now. And Jinxed is on this Jaeger, I imagine, because he wants to be playing some kind of roam game here and trying to cause some chaos.
Yeah, it's been his absolute preferred defender over the course of these 3 weeks even altogether, but play the Bandit there to solidify his role inside of Piano, letting Prophet play the Jaeger. And here we go, Prophet on the Valkyrie this time around, gets the first kill again. I said it before this match, and I'll say it again. Jinxed Owl and Prophet are definitely the best entry duo so far this season. I think Renewals is the only player with a better entry stats than the two of them. And for both of them to be on the same team, that makes it a lot easier to be a support player. Oscar does find the kill onto Nicken, though, who's playing all by himself down in Small Bakery. So that means that now we see JTC as well, actually, and Badger has full control here of Kochek Bar area and Dinsu inside of Christmas, or VIP, whatever you want to call it. So they are trying to get their push here from Bakery, but Zeus is still playing from Prep Room with Rook on the ACOG. So it's still risky for potential rotates there. We also see a rotation coming down here from the new stairs, which leads up to Pillar. Jinxed, just going to do his things, just shoot some bullets, let them know he's there, so they have to keep him in mind, slowing down the push as Prophet being flashed out and killed that as well. Great kill there by Badger. Finally, enormous advantage for Granit.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a kind of weird vertical hold coming out of FAC so far, and they are being part and trying to do so. This is going to be Owl. There we go. He's in a great position here to make something happen. Nearly finds the second, but misses it at the north side of VIP. The flank comes in, and Granit will find themselves their first round. And that was just a bit strange for fact. They had so many members playing on the second floor to begin with, all trying to crawl their way downstairs. It was almost like a reverse attack where they were trying to attack back into the back of the attackers to get back on towards site, but just couldn't quite find the kills in those weird 1 versus 2s.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange hold there for Fact Gaming, not gonna lie, as I think the kids say these days, but they'll be able to go back to the third floor, and we have seen so many times before that already that third floor and second floor they're really confident in defending that. And so maybe instead of a potential Kitchen hold in the 6th round, if they do manage to win Bar and Reading again, if they go Reading, they might just go they might just go into the other second floor site and be able to hold that from Piano. Could be worth considering, or just going Kitchen again and doing the same old with some few alterations to make it better. But for now, we're going to see Fact Gaming going straight back up to Bar. We're going to see Jinxed Owl 6-pick right back onto that castle away from Bandit. There might have been a ruse to attempt to make Granit believe that they're back downstairs in Kitchen, but with a 6-pick away back to Bandit, they're not in Kitchen, they're top floor.
It might look that way as well, and the fact that Stader shows them to bring it on the Buck here as well. Still somewhat useful when attacking upstairs if you want to get control of the second floor and then look to make it happen from there, but for the most part it is more for that downwards attack on something Buck side. Still, at 2-1, you probably could suggest it carry on the way that they same way 6 rounds, 4-2 overall total for this half before we switch sides. That last round, I think more of a misnomer here for the Fats, and don't expect a repeat of that.
No, shouldn't expect to see a repetition of that, but we should be able to see a repetition of Prophet playing around here behind his shield on the new hatch. And we see Jinxed Owl is actually down on the second floor this time, unless he's just doing some prep work. No, it's just been droned out. Might as well have been might have been as well by Stead. Very close here with Nicken playing down in the white stairs on the first floor as a smoke. Very aggressive push there as the smoke, but he's just going to shoot some bullets, run back up, doesn't die. That's the most important thing. He's still able to stall them because now as the attacker, so you have to consider that he might be playing close to white stairs and might potentially waste some joining time there. But JTC is not going to be bothered by it, and he's just going to try and go back up to the roof by the look of things. See here, Hippo still playing up by Toilets, as we've seen him before. Toilets and Pixel. Nick is still playing by White Stairs. Badgers pushing on to the pillar stairs outside of Reading. Again, a bit of a very split-up push here, and Hippo is also holding up here. But this time, JTC from the piano window is actually what I want to see onto Jinx, who was playing into there. And all of a sudden, it looks like Granit has sort of been able to brush off some of these initial mistakes that they had the first two rounds, and looks like their droning is already a lot better with Stead droning out there for his team. You see the Buck is still repelled outside. You see his drone has been moving to the second floor up, and now all of a sudden the batteries have been removed as well, and finally, all of a sudden piano is open. Finally, indeed.
It's taken quite a bit of time, but they are in the spot now where they can at least force him away, and of course with him being dead, it's even better in this instance for them to be able to make something happen. No C4 being thrown at their face probably helps out as well. Now, still trying to play quite aggressively, though. Now, Prophet's the one stepping up to the plate and trying to make something happen. Gets a bit of chip damage down towards JTC. But it'll be him finding a kill on towards Stead. Instead, sounds interesting to say. That's him finding a double kill, almost a triple kill, but can't quite control the recoil and gets himself brought down. 3 now left alive, and every single one of them inside a piano.
All of them inside a piano, but this will give them the time to set up here. They still have Dinsu alive on the thermite. That's his last exothermic charge. Remember, there's no battery there from Bandit. Bandit is dead. Same as we saw in the previous matchup between Game of Legion and Godsent. The same push coming through, and that's a gunfight that JTC shouldn't be winning against a shotgun, but he does, and that's a huge pickup onto the smoke. Means that only Zeus and Hippo are left alive. Hippo playing here on the Legion from White Stairs now should be aware of that on the Zofia as she used her concussion nades and they exploded on the proximity. Dinsu is also going to be able to start plant, but
no way.
Hippo actually trades up JTC. That's a gunfight that he shouldn't win, but the plant goes down. It's a 2v2 post-plant situation.
All Zofia had to do was hold that angle and win that gunfight, but it's not quite to be. But in a 2 versus 2, the opportunity exists for Granit to take something from this now. Straight back out into the repellers we just heard. One more playing inside of Cigar, and the other one is back up on the roof. So a lot of work for Hippo to do here. And Zeus on this Echo should be able to contribute as well as he pushes back into the freezer. There's the angle. There goes to the spray. Will not find the kill. Oscar finds that kill. And Hippo, well, now that he's removed, it's all down to Zeus by himself. Not a lot of time to go as well. 15 seconds in. He's got about 8 seconds to get 2 kills here. Won't even find the first one. He will in the end get one down, but it's got to be enough right now. There is one up on the roof. Doesn't need to peek it at all. He's going to try and go for a defuse, but we all know how this plays out. Season clear as day, and Dinsu finds that final kill.
Much better from Granit Gaming, and this is what you want to see from a team who loses 2 rounds in a row, and you go back to the same sites that you lost initially in Bar, or the same site that you lost initially in Bar, and you're able to fix your mistakes. It's so crucial to get that opening kill. It's so crucial to take the time to drone out and not jump inside while you're not prepared. Again, you saw, as you remember in round 1, the Nomad dropping by down by herself, and there's no cover to look at her, and then all of a sudden, or watch out for her. Well, you could look at her as well if you want to. I'm not, it's just saying you could watch her angles instead, watch her flanks. But that wasn't the case. But this time, with the exception of JTC losing that gunfight onto Hippo, I believe that was, playing the Legion over by White Stairs, everything else went the way they wanted it to, got the plant down, and even if Zeus had won that last gunfight, he wouldn't have had time to defuse, as the timer is 7 seconds, and he had 6.5 by the time he started it, if I'm not mistaken. Back up to Bar here then for fact. Now that they've lost this one, will they actually adapt to it and try sort of a, like, if they have a backhand strategy for when they lose? Okay, we lost our preferred strategy. Let's use the second one, the one where we lost the first round. Or are they just going to stick to the same old, and just try to win the gunfights and adapt from there throughout the round?
I don't think there's a huge need to change away from it, since it did work really well for 2 rounds. And
yeah,
all right, yes, the third round was a bit of a write-off because the kitchen. That last round was a repeat, and they still didn't quite manage to make it work. So I would like to see them go for a repeat, and they are going for a similar sort of setup right now. Yep. But try not to concede piano so quickly. I think will probably be a key part of that. Yes, it's fine to let them get inside, but don't go backing away and giving them full control, because we saw Prophet have to try and get a little bit magical on his flank. And yes, he found 2 kills, but wasn't quite enough to stop them getting inside of bags and getting the plant down behind bar.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Alex, could you check if Jinx has a C4? Because I'm wondering if he's running downstairs. Yeah, he does. Okay, I was wondering if he actually run downstairs to get like a pre-placed C4 or something, because he's been doing the same route 2 times in a row now, at
Same
least.
as round 1. He's going
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so just being a bit cheeky.
Oh, he missed.
Yeah, there's a C4 there. Oh well. Badger got it as well. So it is probably, as you say, he's just rotating down to red stairs. If someone drones him out, they won't be able to see that he's on red stairs until it's too late and having it open up. So that's a good point. But still, Hippo is actually, again, playing from piano here. Last time we saw him, when he rotated away, Jinx rotated into piano, holding over by the bar desk there for any potential bandit tricking or whatever. Yeah, then you should be really careful.
Oh, look at Hippo. Hippo's being super cheeky here as JTC's getting towards this window. He wants to try and contest Jinx, who's playing inside of Scar, but not going to happen. That was a beautiful bait, and this is why I love Siege. It's like a game of chess. Round to round, small adaptations are made that completely transform how a round plays out. Stead's going to balance things out, at least by bringing down profit, so top fragger is gone for fact.
And this is what you love to see in competitive Siege as well, when you can you see the teams have correctly identified exactly what they're doing, exactly where they're pushing, and you adapt to it, and you know they're going to do the same thing again because they won. This time we're prepared for it. Hippo is certainly prepared for it with a double kill and a opened up little bullet hole or punch hole there in the piano semicircle, whatever you want to call it. And just to get JTC on the rappel. Beautifully done. It's just small things. It's like good cooking. It's the small things that you add to really bring it home. Hippo has been taken down by Stead, who up until this round has had a really subpar performance in terms of frags, but he has done a lot of droning, so I'll give him that. So far gotten 2 kills though, and that's the 2 only kills he has as of yet as well. Zoo's not been able to stop the plant in the last round. Might have been because of Oscar on the IQ being able to prevent that from happening. That's why it's so crucial to keep that IQ for as long as possible, especially when you're playing against an Echo.
Like I say, it's the small things in these adaptations that have been making a big difference. And one thing worth raising is that now quite a few times Hippo has found the opening kill onto JTC. 2 rounds, in fact, in total. So even as he goes down in this round, Hippo, he dies laughing, knowing that he's dealt with JTC so comfortably, who is still the top fragger for Granit, despite going down first into those rounds. No. And here's that foul. Oh, how on earth does he run in there and get away with that for free? A smoke, nonetheless. Charges him with the SMG and finds that kill on towards Stead, and that is easy enough for them. Now, Crossfire were quite awkwardly potentially being set up here between these last 2 members, in fact. And here comes this final fight. They're on pings. They know exactly where they are and what's going on. Needs to be so careful. And Nicken goes for a flank here, but gets contested. And Fats will take that round. So, not a bad one, I think. I'd say you're giving them a bit more freedom over to the side of Granit there, who got better on their drones. It's one thing that we noted back in the first 2 rounds. But happy to fight them once they were inside the building as well as when they were on the outside. Yeah,
and I think it's important to note that what you said there, that JTC has been picked off by Hippo twice now, and JTC being the standout performer for Granit Gaming over the course of the last 2 rounds. It's certainly not just the gun that you're going to miss. You're also going to miss the utility from the Zofia with the 2 impacts and the 2 concussion nades as well. Like we said earlier, she is a great operator, no clear downsides. It's just like the thing that made Legion so strong for so long, that you could always bring a Legion. It would never be a bad time to bring a Legion. And it's so annoying to play against if he stays alive and he's able to put up those goo mines as well. So the adaptations from Granit Gaming came through, netted them 2 rounds in a row. Now all of a sudden we saw these small adaptations coming through from Fact, netting them in a win. So this, if we compare this to the first match where we saw just the multi-kills coming through for the teams, yes, there are some multi-kills here as well, but they come as a result of adaptations and the teams being able to read each other out. And it's like I said, it's like chess. It's like, I don't know, like, what's it called? Tic-tac? No, tic-tac, what's it called? Tic-tac-toe, yeah, exactly. Like, where you can just, you see where you operate, where your opponent is placing their bets or where they're putting down their crosses and squares, and you adapt to that and change your strategy accordingly. And it's so great as a caster to see that unfold right in front of your eyes and to see them succeed in doing that as well. Because one of the things that I've missed in this tournament so far over the course of the last 2 years is adaptation on the fly. And it's great to see that from both of these teams.
Yeah, and this game, compared to the last one, is starting to feel less like a frag fest now, and definitely more around the strategy of, you know, how far up are we holding. All right, sure, Prophet's had a few rounds where he's popped off and found himself 3 or 4 kills. That's going to happen. But it's definitely more composed and controlled than what we have seen previously. And immediately now I'm looking at this round and thinking, well, last time we had this was back in round number 2. The Poor drones is what really caught them out there. Because if you remember, this is where Jinxdown managed to freely rotate back in towards Piano, wasn't droned out, and found that easy kill onto the Thermite once he got himself inside of Piano later on into the round. So, a lot of focus no doubt going to go from Granit on towards the droning piece here as well, the droning work they're trying to do. Prophet playing a little bit higher is trying to get rid of that drone that has been giving him quite a bit of bother so far. He will find it, but that was a committal to getting rid of that.
Yeah, and he wasn't punished for it either. No one playing in the Skylight exactly because you don't want to risk yourself, risk to expose yourself for the Zeus on the ACOG or something like that. So none of the attackers to punish him for that, and I don't really mind that. It would be a huge feels bad, man, if you got killed up there by the Skylight by someone waiting with an ACOG or because it's not it's a lot easier than you'd think to get that kill because there's not a lot of angles for the attackers to really be visible. But look at this, Dead with a grenade kill onto Prophet. That's a huge pickup. That's one of the two entry fraggers for Fact Gaming, and JTC and everyone else still alive as of right now, and a great start. Also being able to open up into Piano with Jinxdown rotating slowly but surely away from Piano or back into Pixel. No, back into Toilet.
And then back in towards Side. And back in towards White. The van just doesn't stop moving, basically, is what you can take away from that. There was a lot of commitment to getting rid of Prophet there, but look at how many drones are left on the side of Granit right now. They have 3 drones left alive, and that has been the case since the 2-minute mark. They lose so much so early on trying to find out where these defenders are. And it feels like there's a very heavy commitment from the defenders on the side of Fact to say, you know what, drones are a valuable resource. Kill them every single chance you get.
Yep, and this is also why you open the hatch into Laundry. And I was just going to point out that it's just so great to see how Fact is like rotating. Okay, so Hippo was playing White Stairs, but Jinx need to rotate, so Hippo's rotating further down with Jinx taking his position into White Stairs. Like it's like there's like a Tunga line or something. They just swap places. They don't give up the position. They just rotate the player holding it, so that's one extra line of defense back onto site if needs be. Still see Jinx there contesting White Stairs. 35 seconds left on the clock, and it's still a 5v4 here it does.
Let's not forget about the site that we're playing for here as well, isn't this one? Oh my god, almost gets himself killed after the back of that kill on towards Badger, but no. I can't believe there are 25 seconds left and only 2 kills have come through. And we're assaulting downstairs, let's not forget. This is nothing about upstairs. Only now, after we spent 2 minutes warring on the top floor, Granit finally starting to look on the downstairs. Jinxdown pushes back up and does find that return kill onto Stead. Hippo gets one into Dinsu, and this round is all but done as Hippo makes it a second kill. Diffuser is down. JTC has got so much work to do, and against 4, I don't really see a way that this round goes in his favor. 2 seconds left. It's done and dusted. Bats end the half at 4-2.
Saving the AVP there, or saving his stats as well. So that's nice to have your priorities in check there. But it's again, very convincing defense there by Fact Gaming, I would say. Jinx Owl. A little bit concerning that he gets away with this. This is like the second round in a row where someone from Fact Gaming has just been able to just sneak up for a kill and just get away. Like, yeah, they might get tacked or, you know, poked a little bit, but they don't die. There's no trade. Like, the initiative is there, which is good to see. Like that's the positive. The positive is that there is a potential for trade there in place, and all gunfights are 50-50. You're not going to win every gunfight. You're not going to be able to land all your shots. So you have to commend that it was there in the first place, but you shouldn't lose those fights because they eventually end up losing you rounds, because that meant that Jinxed Owl could still play over by White, because he knew by that time, at 30 seconds left, even if he died in White Stairs, that's fine. You can take that death because he's already done his job.
Very interested to see how this setup pans out for them, because for the defenders, no electrification, but they are bringing along a mute jammer, which makes total sense. They've also got a Maestro on side here, knowing that Thatcher isn't available makes it a lot harder to get rid of those. You will need more soft destruction, so immediately your eyes turn towards the Zofia and the Sledge to be dealing with that. And they absolutely need to be killed if you're going to try and go for an execute on towards site when one is nearby, because looking at Prophet being on the gridlock, well, there are smoke grenades there. What can Maestro Evil Eyes do? See through smoke. So that needs to be dealt with relatively early on. I'm also somewhat surprised the Prophet is bringing the gridlock here as well. I thought we'd maybe see something aggressive like an Ash to join him with everything else going on. But I think the fear here is take control of an area of the map, get ourselves a rotation blocker down to get those tracks down on the stairs, white stairs, red stairs, for example. And just don't give someone like Badger the opportunity to charge and cause absolute chaos.
Yeah, so there's that. I think that's a nice. Oh,
no, that's too easy.
That's way too easy. I was just gonna know, and that's the difference between Jinxstyle and Prophet, because even if both of them leading on kills, Jinxstyle will almost exclusively play the IQ, whereas Prophet, as we saw in Clubhouse, actually played Nomad, still was able to get all the kills. So he's more of the the more flexible of the two entry fraggers, if we can say that way. So he's probably playing like a flex support, like a flex frag, or like just a flex role, and he's I think that's like he's doing an outstanding job on it. Like it's easy to say, oh, Jinxed out with a pistol onto Dinsu as well. It shouldn't happen. Was he on the camera? He must have been on camera on Maestro or something. And he just got him through the floor with a headshot. That is a feel sad, man. But I was just gonna say, it is a lot harder to be able to net all those kills with several different operators than just getting the same one. And while I was saying that, Prophet gets the kill instead with that gridlock as well. And it's a huge pickup to bring in as well because you have the extra armor so you can win these kind of gunfights. And there's only Badger left in 1v4 here. All the round has gone away between our fingers. While I've been talking about this, Badger, though, left in a 1v4 situation. Plenty of time left on the clock there for the attackers. Oh, great shot there from Badger onto Hippo as well. Has been one of the outstanding players here for Granit. Badger. He is capable of doing this. Tons of time, though, for the attackers. Still drones left alive as well for either player. Shouldn't have a chance here, but we've seen worse things happen on stream before, Dez.
Yeah, and a Jaeger, one of the ones that you would like to someone have the option to be playing on here in a clutch. Given you have the carbine, 3-speed, definitely not a poor shot. But look at this. This is the kind of stuff I like to see. Drones leading him in. Zeus doing the kind of hunting game. And now the tag's starting to come through on the other side. I don't know if he knew that he was being droned there, in fact. So maybe he's getting away with this one scot-free for now. But the onus is definitely on the attackers here. Nikin and Zeus. Nikin with the diffuser. Probably looking to try and get that one down in a safe spot where he won't get himself picked off. But Badger in a perfect place behind the shield right here. Can see everything he wants to.
You see everything onto the default plant spot. Indeed, has tons of information. Another kill. It's a 1v1. Badger might be actually able to do this. Oh. No, the trade. Right behind him, Zeus, also another player that snuck a bit under the radar here. But whenever Jinxed and or Prophet goes down, Zeus is usually not far behind with the pickup as well. And we saw Hippo has also had a standout performance. And this is what I love about Fact. This is why I still keep him as one of the favorites to go to the playoffs, because whenever the top two players of a team fall down, Zeus and Hippo are more than capable of picking up the scraps on the backside.
Doing some good work. And yeah, it was unlucky really, I think, for Badger there at the end, because this could have been a very different conversation if he was sat at 4-3 and not 5-2.
Absolutely.
So some climbing work to be done, no doubt. Going downstairs now into kitchen. Let's see how things shape up, because again, that soft destruction coming in is the sledge rather than a buck. Clearly where their choice is going. We saw a really interesting attack coming through the other day onto this site, actually, when Thatcher was banned and Kai was available inside a Challenger League, where grenades were used to destroy the Kai claws on the other side of a hatch to make sure they could definitely get through. Of course, no such requirement coming through here, but still going to have to be a lot of vertical control coming through for the attackers to be able to get rid of those bandit charges, which inevitably are going to be placed on these walls leading in towards the site.
Very good points indeed. I think it might be easier as well to do the grenades through the floor as well now that you have the new shrapnel system in place as well, which has made Fuse even a riskier of an operator, being able to kill himself if you're not careful. Not that we see him a lot in competitive play. I still argue that if he was a 2-speed and, you know, other certain alterations were made, that he would be almost a must-pick on maps like this, because imagine how great it is in theory to be able to sit a floor above and just be able to wipe an entire room's worth of utility from above while you're safe, relatively safe. So, in theory, a very strong operator, but he's just never brought out despite his strong gun as well. Use him in ranked, though. He works a lot in ranked if you don't have teams who actually coordinate. Anywho, I touched onto the gridlock earlier with the armor, but also you touched onto the track stingers as well. Just able to lock down huge areas of the map. And I do believe Navi was the first team to play Cafe in Pro League. And they also brought the gridlock, if I remember correctly. Or that was G2. No, that was Uno, actually, on the G2. That was his opening match, if I remember correctly. So it's not a combination that we're not used to seeing here on Cafe, the gridlock being picked out on Cafe, and I think she's an outstanding pick in terms of not just the track singers, but also the smoke.
She is pretty phenomenal. Maybe not as versatile as her Australian counterpart on the other side of things. Mozzie, as you can see, in play right now, but that may well change with that shotgun being removed from him relatively soon. I do like the fact that she's so powerful for execute. She basically is a I want to play objective this round kind of operator when you pick her. She's there to do what she's done right now and block up any rotations from the defenders. She's there to lead the charge in with smoke grenades, and her gun isn't awful either. I say that as he loses a gunfight to JTC.
Yeah, but the point still rings true, though. I mean, it's JTC on the Bandit, and that's a whiffed C4. I think the call might have come through there from Badger, but that was... I don't know what the call was there, to be honest with you. Badger's playing close, and Must have been something. Someone's entering the site, though, just trying to bait out a couple of shots there. Nothing so far, though, and Stead will just use his smoke canisters to stay safe. Remember, this whole wall is open, leaving it incredibly risky for Stead to be playing here. They pincered him up now. They will be able to pincer him up, but Stead says no, and he just removes the head of Nick in the IGL in the attempt. Jinxed out with the trade on the other side of the map onto Badger. 4v3 situation with 1 minute left on the clock. Still looking relatively good here for Granit Gaming. They have tons of utility, but a lot of walls have opened, and with the gun skill of Zeus, Jinx, and Hippo still alive, it's not a safe win yet.
They're very dug in back in towards Deep Freeze here as well, not wanting to try and push themselves too aggressively the side of Granit, and you can see exactly why as Jinx now steps in and gets another kill in this round. Now at 3-3, and there is still one playing on the upstairs, even with Embers of Fact starting to push in. So they have ignored what is going on upstairs for the most part, and this is where Oscar's going to start his journey back downstairs. The biggest problem is you're now facing off against all these track stingers, and every single time you destroy one, well, the attackers know exactly where you are and what's coming. Zeus can pretty much move, safe in the knowledge that that's not going to happen. It's going to be half stairs instead. Jinxed is ready. Triple kill for himself in this round. That should be all said and done. Fact take that round in decisive fashion as Hippo gets that final kill.
That, ladies and gentlemen, in my humble opinion, is an amazing example and something you can consider for your next video there, Des, from the Nordic Championship, on how, while you're mid-round, how you can adapt to a numbers disadvantage, get the correct information that you need, and just be able to cut down the defenders one by one after having opened and pressured the defenders, forcing them to move and take fights and winning said gunfights. What was also lovely to see there was Jinxed, with his discipline and experience, completely aware that someone would potentially rotate down from main stairs, knowing that red stairs was riddled with track stingers. He was correct in his assumption, netted an easy peasy kill for himself, setting up the 3v1, and Maestro, or Dinsu on the Maestro with the older gun, had no chance in hell to clutch this for his team. This also puts Fact Gaming onto match point, meaning they're only one round away from still being undefeated and one out of only 2 teams to have won every single game they played so far in the league.
I keep coming back to her, but Gridlock again in that round was such a huge part. Like, even when you saw the Mozzie trying to rotate down red stairs, just realized there was no way of that happening without getting picked off, so was forced to go and play on half stairs, and that was the natural prediction for, as we saw, Jinx Owl, I think it was, holding the right spot, walks down half stairs, easy kill, turns that into a very comfortable round win off the back of it. And it's all down to, again, the control coming through, because even with the rest of the round underway, they started out inside a bakery and just slowly edged their way in from the west, being very mindful of the defender that was remaining on the upstairs. Everything was just very well calculated. They seemed very in control, very methodical about things, whereas it was on the other side of Granit to try and figure out a way to deal with what it was that Fat were throwing at them.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
So, this is where Granit has their knife against their throat. They have to win 4 rounds in a row to even make sure that they get a point here. If they lose this round, this map, beg your pardon, they would still be with 1 win and 2 losses. But keep in mind they've had a relatively tough start to the season, with the chaos in the first round, Riddle in the second, which they won comfortably 7-3, as you noted in the pre-game lobby even. And losing to Fact, the way that Fact has been playing isn't the worst thing in the world. You could still technically end up at top 4, but knowing that Chaos most likely will be one of those top 4 positions, you're going to have to hope for other teams fighting for the 4th spot to drop some points, just like Game of Legion did today, for instance. And hope that Sisu, who is also not in a great form, as we can see in the Challenge League as well, that leaves 2 spots open for contention. What's not for contention is the first blood, because Prophet nets it onto Stead. Great opening kill by Prophet.
Attackers have located a bomb.
It's a very scrappy game back and forth in terms of getting opening kills and defensive kills, but overwhelmingly, it's, as it stands, Facts with 6 of them and 2 on the side of Granit. So you can see who's got that aggressive kind of flair to their play, really been kicking off. And again, I've got to give a bit of a nod towards the side of Facts right now in drone control. They've just lost their second one, so that's 2 that they've lost now inside the first 90 seconds. Compare that to Granit early on, who had lost 7 inside 60 seconds. It goes to show, again, how much more conservative they're being with that intel.
That's why I love the new UIs. We can bring up these talking points and actually track them for our post-video analysis. It's amazing. Look at all its glory. Yeah. It's a great UI and a great observer to help with that as well, so thank you very much, Alex. Prophet now also having cut off the rotation from Piano into Cigar. If the breach is open, you could still technically rotate into Red, but you should never in a million years be able to do that with any attackers still alive. Keep in mind, still a 4v5 situation here, 50 seconds left on the clock. It's not the worst situation here, but Dinsu getting targeted from below. Jinxed Owl opening up the floor from below in reading, taking out the Maestro. That's a huge pick, which means he's also aware of someone in white, and it's a great kill onto JTC. We said it before the season, Jinxed Owl. Nicken said, you can quote me on this, he's been not used properly by his former teams, putting him on Thatcher, put the man on an Ash or a Fragger, and he will show you why he's a god of the Danes, and he is certainly doing that so far in the Nordic Championship. He wants to get back into Challenger League, and he's putting in a damn good application to do just that.
See what else I can do. Oscar says, we know what, it's not all about him, it's also about me. I'm 18 years old now, and I can play the big boys as well. 2 kills in this round. Now they've got to try and force their way through here to make this happen. Badger finds a 2 kill. Will he find the third? Not quite, but it isn't to a 1 versus 1. He knows where he is. He can push this one. He tries to go for it, but doesn't quite get it in the right second. Oscar peeks back out and finds a 3K in that round to keep his team stream alive.
Oh, so close. It looks like almost like a fat finger there from Sophia. You know the feeling when you're playing ranked and you're close to a shield and your fat thumb just hits the space button and you jump over, vault over the shield, and your crosshair grows bigger. You become such an easier target. And Oscar, a risky peek, but he knew that he would have to take that fight. Otherwise, the Sophia would just pre-fire him, and rightly so. They were able to grab that win back from what looked like a certain defeat, keeping hopes alive for that 1 extra point. And again, if they were to grab the 3 extra rounds as well and net themselves a point, I'm sure they would be very happy with their scenario as well. I would also like to point out something. I think it was Jez who pointed that out. Like, how many people say that teams who are in the lead on, for instance, Clubhouse, let's say 5-1, or on Cafe, they are in the lead 5-1 and the game ends 6-6, and people call it a throw. But when you've seen actually 2 identical halves, like, do you have any opinions on that? Like, just throw your opinion out there?
It's nothing to do with the scoreline. I think it's entirely down to how it's played.
Yeah.
So, a great example being that last week we saw on Cafe in Challenger League, August go 5-1 on attack on this map. Go over to defense, and you're like, man, surely they can defend on this map. No, lost 5 rounds like back-to-back, and that was it, done and dusted. And everyone was saying that was a throw. Maybe in their mind it was. But if you ask the coach of Myrtle what he thought about it, he basically just said, well, it was a once-in-a-lifetime game for one of their players. He dropped 20 kills on a map. Like, there's not really much you can do about that when someone is just having one of those days and they are just tearing you apart, limb by limb. So I think it's very hard to say based on the score alone that a game was thrown away. It's entirely based on how it was thrown away, as whether or not you can call it a throw or not.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you bring up a really good point there with the kills as well, because that's what you can call the X factor, right? You can make the best strategies in the world, you can make up the best crossfires in the world, but if you don't have the X factor, if you don't have that player performing, you know, out of his heart content, or playing with his heart on his sleeves or whatever, playing on his gun on his sleeve, I don't know what the equivalent would be in this game, but you just can't predict that. You can expect it from players such as Jinxed Owl and Prophet, for instance. You know that they, stats-wise, they've been playing quite well, so you expect that they might be able to do the same. But you're not gonna be able to sort of counter-strat 2 people. You still have 3 other players who could also have a good day, and you should never put your entire strategy around the opposing members' top players anyway. You should set up a strategy that your team is comfortable with, that they can execute, and adapt accordingly.
It's exactly that. It's just trying to be... It's doing it as best you can. Sometimes mistakes or freak rounds happen.
Like that.
Things like this happen where no one's being droned out, for example, but that was definitely Steb with a great headshot onto, again, one of the big players of fact in this game. So that's Owl done and dusted. As elsewhere, Prophet's going to balance things back out.
That's just Jinx trying another sneaky, like, crouch walk into sight. Instead was ready for it this time with the SMG-11, so great pick there. He was traded, look, Badger was traded, though, eventually, so it's a 4v4. Still plenty of time on the clock, though, so nothing to worry about just yet for Fact Gaming. Just keep in mind it is reading, not bar, but we're seeing the exact same strategy here, and this is why they like reading. This is also why Oscar likes being 18 and playing with the big boys, like I said, because he can prove that he can pick off their heads as well. Prophet and Jinxed Owl being picked off the table leaves it up to the rest of the remaining players of Fact to prove that they can put this all the way over the finish line and net them the extra 2 points.
1 minute 15 left, then in a 4 versus 3 for Granit, and this could end up at 6-4. Then find ourselves with 2 more rounds and potentially yet another draw coming through on Cafe, if it keeps on swinging that way. Attack so far not looking as effective maybe as Fats would have liked. Down now to a 2-man army to try and bring down the monstrosity of the 4 left on the other side. And only 60 seconds on the clock. I can hear even a couple stepping over those Legion mines on their way in too. So Nikin and Zeus with a lot of work to do here.
Rightly that, and even though you can't see the HUD, you can still hear someone in the area. Information is key in this game, as we know. The information will also be relayed that someone just dropped from New Hatch, shooting out the depot camp. Oh, we actually tagged, I think, there Dinsu quite a bit, and Dinsu's quite low. You can see the animation through the wall there. Might be expecting someone to play closer, play over by the rotations. Look at the setup by Granit, though. They're all nice and spread up, and they will be able to. But there's actually an injury through the bookshelf there, but there's a nice trade from JTC. That's what we wanted to see earlier. The trades actually being successful. That leaves Zeus in a 1v4 situation to clutch this, as the player behind the bookshelves has been revived. 10 seconds left on the clock, and Smoke's still alive. I don't see how this will happen. Getting 4 kills in 6 seconds shouldn't be possible, and he won't even be able to pad his stats. Granit with another win on defense, as they have to do if they're able to, if they want to be able to bring any points. And as of right now, I think it's a fair assessment to say that Granit is not too far away from the level of fact based on the level of play.
The tough one now is because they've won those 2 rounds back-to-back. Third and second floor are locked off, and we probably go back down to kitchen again in this round unless they really wanted to try something out on mining, for example, but that is not going to be the case. My biggest worry for them here is we saw this in round number 8. This was the round that you said Fact played excellently. It was worth looking over again. They just controlled everything really well. And yes, a lot of that was built on Jinx now getting a 3K, but this was the round that Fact have looked the most comfortable in this half so far. So a bit of concern here for Granit. If they can win this round, I think they can bring it back to a draw.
Oh, absolutely. There's only 2 rounds left, and it is a momentum-based game as well. Keep that in mind. And I think I would much rather... It's nice to be in a 6-2 score, but when you're in a 6-4 after having been 6-2, I would actually favor the 4-6. Because then you start doubting yourself, and you know that it's all about that one single round that you can get. You're playing like you would say as a football coach. You're playing as if it's 0-0. You're just playing for the next round. Every round matters, and if you're able to bring that mentality in fact, of course, we'll be like, okay, guys, they will start doubting themselves. Guys, we had 6 rounds against these guys already. We already won this site. What's going on? Like, what happened this round? And that might creep into your mind and become the focus of why you didn't win that round, rather than being able to focus for the next round. Fact is, in my opinion, looked on based off what we can analyze in terms of communication, droning, and the discipline, looked as one of the teams with the most experience, being able to just rush, shake that off themselves and come prepared to the next round. But with Stead being able to climb back up on the kill board as well, netting some kills for his teams, and Oscar as well. Again, it's about the X factor.
Wildly so. One thing I really clocked in this setup phase actually was the changeover at the last second, the 6th pick, Zeus going from Zofia onto the Maverick. I can't think of the last time we haven't seen a Zofia picked up by an attacker at all, because her utility is just so useful. Yes, you still get 2 frag grenades, but I think with the Zofia, you're looking towards the fact that you have those impact nades to use realistically a lot easier, a lot more comfortably. You, of course, also have the concussions that you can push in with. So I hope here they've got a plan to make use of this one, and the heavy drone presence off towards Bakery suggests that's exactly where the attack is going to start.
It's a look at all 3 drones running the same place, though. So it might. Oh, that's yeah. Oscar just got the drone. Like, thank you very much. And Oscar can go and tell that Jinx is droning all the way by himself over there in Bar. It's inside the building, droning for himself, and no one's there to punish him. Badger is playing from white and might be holding that rotation just for Jinx out pushing, but Jinx is prepared for it, and Badger is punished. Rotation coming down there from Oscar into the white stairs. Jinx might not be prepared for it. He is peeking towards the white stairs. We hear the walls are being opened into prep as well, and the drones are coming out. But there's still a fight on the other side of the half against between Oscar and Jinx down. And there's the Maverick, as we spoke of earlier, coming through just to get rid of the bandit tricks as well.
And that means it's free for the Thermite to get this one open. This is probably why they didn't want to try and deal with going upstairs. They had no need to previously. They just tracks off the stairs and tries to push from there. They have 1 tracks down at the minute inside of the red hallway, but not one actually down on red stairs itself. But I'm not sure if there's actually anyone on the upstairs right now. I don't think they are. I think they're all on site. The only one arguably who is on the downstairs is Oscar playing on white stairs off towards the far east. Outside of him, all the pressure is as it was in the last round, being brought in from the west-hand side.
JTC with a kill onto Nick in there. That's the IJL picked off. And here's the pesky gridlocks. JTC with another kill. That's a great start for him. Oscar with a kill as well. All of a sudden, this is completely opposite from the other kitchen push. that Fact did. They're losing control swiftly. Only Hippo and Zeus left 4v2, and I must commend the patience of the young player of Oscar there. He played White Stairs, in my opinion, a lot more disciplined than Badger did. He got a bit too eager to push Jinx there, but Oscar just waited. He knew that he doesn't have to push into that. He knew that Jinx might be expecting the follow-up there, and patience pays dividends as he was able to pick off a kill later and give his team an advantage. Zeus with a great grenade onto Stead. 3v2. Technically, could be able to get another one.
He'll try and bounce it. No, he will still find a kill and he went to the very, very back, but it's down to a 1 versus 2 with one on the upstairs. Tries to push in close, but Granit will find the final kill. JTC with a wondrous round with 3 kills coming through. Brings them back to the spot where they are 1 round away from forcing this game into a draw. And this is one of those things you asked earlier on about it potentially being a throw. A lot of it is coming down to just Granit playing really well. Oscar finding that 3K back in round number 9, for example. But Fact are going to be kicking themselves if they let this one run away from them.
Absolutely, and if you ask Fact, they're obviously going to say it's like any competitive sport. Fact, if you ask them if this ends up in a tie, they're going to say we threw the game, whereas Granit will be like, no, we threw the first half and then we picked ourselves up in the second half.
Exactly.
And some will say, oh no, it was a defender-sided map, and others say, no, it's not really defender-sided. Blah 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 blah. And it's like I said, you have to look at each map or game respectively and be able to analyze and say, you know what, this is where it went wrong. And I think Granit has just been able to pick themselves up in the defensive half. They learned from their mistakes to net them those very important 2 attacking rounds where they adapted to their mistakes and they were able to get the kills, were able to trade. And now in the defensive half, which is still arguably the strongest side of this map, they are able to play their own game, and they've looked a lot stronger with 3-2 wins in the defensive half, and they only need 1 more to equal the same half that Fact has. And this is exactly the talking point that we had before the map or even the stream started, with this being probably the closest game on paper with Fact and Granit. And if Granit can prove that they are on level with Fact, who's yet still one of the only 2 undefeated teams, they're certainly making a case for themselves in this league.
Well, let's hope this time around JTC doesn't get himself killed inside a wheel in the opening 15 seconds, as happened last time. We played on Bar and Cocktail twice in this half, once in round 7, once in round 9, and the teams have taken 1 round of that each. So it's anyone's guess how this one should play out. On paper, you probably look at it and say, well, it is generally a defender-favoured site. Granit have got the advantage. This should be their win. But it's so difficult to write things off in a case like this. You saw just how close the last game was. Neo, as you revealed to us in chat afterwards, there was a poor call that came through saying he's behind bomb. Wasn't behind bomb, he was in dark and ended up losing the round off the back of it. So that happens sometimes. This could yet come down being exactly the same.
And that's why it's so nice to see the immediate reactions from the players in Twitch chat, because obviously we were playing with a delay here, or at least for Twitch chat. So it's nice to them to just immediately come in. No, it wasn't me. There was the comms. The comms were off. I'm not going to mention names, but I trusted the comm call. And that's one of the many things that we as casters can only attempt to analyze based on the movement of the players, based on how they push in, based on whether or not they acknowledge the presence of someone being in the area. And one of the many things that we never will know with 100% certainty unless we ask the players and the teams themselves. Prophet has already been able to establish control here into Cigar Shop. No one being able to contest him or willing to do so as of yet. You have a Maestro Cam over there by Jungle. No, wait, that's not Jungle. My bad. It's the other new balcony over by Dinsu. Thank you very much, Alex. I'm better with visual aids than telling people.
I just normally go with East and West balcony. It just removes all confusion. I've heard so many different names. Oh, no.
That's cheeky, but it still provides you know, if it's just calculated. I just wanted to show off.
Beautiful.
But anywho,
the thing is that now leaves a massive threat potentially inside a White corridor, and there's a massive threat at the bottom of White stairs. Badger will find Jinx. Looks like it's already going wrong for Fact.
Yeah, and that's also the difference between Jaeger and the Grid. No, Wamai just there. Wamai can actually pick up all projectiles, and Gridlock included. Won't be picked up by an ADS, but Wamai is there to prove that, okay, you have tons of anti-rotates into Cigar, but like you rightly said, tons of threats inside of White. And look at this. They haven't even cleared out all the ADSs. That means one of the concussions from Azofia is actually going to be removed there. He finds the other one. He's like, okay, sorry, I didn't check this out properly. That's the concussion. Then the second impact is to see if there's any utility in nearby. Still drones though, and like I said, the drone work from Fact has been great. Nicken still has both of his alive this far into the round, so a huge difference there from Fact combined with a lot of the other teams. 34 seconds left on the clock, Des, and we're looking for a 5v4 push.
Prophet still has one of the cities back pocket as well. Looks like there's going to be a call to go straight downstairs right here. Gunfire, nothing else. I think was more to cover while they try and set up for this. But look at the stack coming out of the defenders right now. There's a lovely like crescent moon shape here down towards the southeast side of the map. They don't expect that Oscar is where he is. He finds 2 kills. Dinsu finds another. It has all fallen apart. Hippo is left alive entirely by himself. And Granit claw it back from the jaws of defeat to end things out at 6-6. We have seen 2 draws on Cafe so far today. I'm praying there isn't a third.